Okay, we're going to get started. So, Auntie Ndidi, welcome again. It's really exciting to have you on the show. Everyone's been excited about today, and it's going to be amazing. I know this very much. And we're collaborating with getjobs.ng. We're collaborating with Georgia Tech's ECE department, the Women in Engineering. And we're also going to share this video with young girls in colleges and high schools here in the US, as well as in Nigeria and other parts of Africa. Auntie, please tell us about yourself, your background. How did you start? You've had Designers Club for a very long time. So just tell us a little bit about your background.
Rena, thank you for having me, and thank you for what you're doing with Africa Professional. You're amazing. It's good to know that beautiful things, smart and intelligent things come from Nigeria. So we are so proud of you.
Thank you.
I am Ndidi here. I'm 56 years old, and I have 2 amazing children. My greatest experience is that of motherhood. Amazing. I wouldn't trade it for anything else. So my educational qualification, I'm a lawyer. I'll call myself a serial entrepreneur anyway. I'm a lawyer not by choice. In my era, parents wanted their children to be doctors, lawyers, engineers, accountants. And I was glad I could do it for them. I didn't do it for me. But the good thing is, everything I learned in being a lawyer, I am using in every aspect of my life, in every other endeavors, in my day-to-day, in contracts, in everything. I'm smarter, I'm wiser from being a lawyer. I'm grateful. But you know, after I graduated, I said to them, here you guys, here you go. I did this for you, not for me. So now it's about me. I've always had interest in lifestyle, fashion, you know, hospitality. And for some reason, people literally, family members and friends literally bought the clothes off my back. So that was a direction the universe was pointing me towards. So what happened? I had to do me. I bootstrapped my Designers Club, the business, from savings, and I started real small. I started selling from home. I started selling from the trunk of my car. I did house calls, and I happily did this because it was exactly what I wanted to do. But in doing that, I learned some valuable lessons. I have been fortunate to close the best of the best in my country and outside Nigeria. So one day I got a call from a lady who had an event that night, and I jumped up, loaded my trunk with my luggage and everything, happily went off to her home. Her housekeeper let me in. I sat down, and for some reason, I didn't realize how long I had spent. The next thing, somebody tapped me and woke me up, and I looked, I'd spent 2 hours in her living room. And the housekeeper said to me, I'm sorry, Madame can't see you. She says she's tired. And I'm like, after 2 hours? Well, guess what? I struck my things again. On my way home, I cried buckets. I was driving and tears were pouring out. But I learned the most valuable lessons in life: how to be compassionate, empathic to startups. You know, I learned that valuable lesson. And I said, this is not how I'm going to be when I'm in that position. And I never forgot that. So when I encounter young girls who are starting up, people who are starting up in business, I'm very supportive because I remember my story. My other businesses were birthed out of pain. My mom passed about 9 years ago, and I hurt so bad. I went in a dark place. I had had depression between the ages of 21 and 23. I'll come to that later. And I needed to grieve. I wasn't only grieving her loss, I was grieving the questions I would have wanted to ask her, I couldn't ask her. One of it was if she had any regrets in life. You know, I kept ruminating over this question for months. Then one day, I had an epiphany. I had a voice like, hey, get over it. She's gone. You're not going to get that answer from her. So you're going to live your life in a way that when it's time to go, you won't have any regrets.
Wow, that's powerful.
So for some reason, I had wanted to have a restaurant apart from the clothing business. And a lot of people, I had more naysayers, oh, you can't do it.
Yeah.
Or Nigeria, oh, it's such a stressful business. Nigerian men will take advantage of you. They'll come for lunch and have you for dessert. If you encouraged me, and after my mom passed, I was like, you know what? This is on my bucket list, and I'm going to go ahead with it. I'm going to attempt it. If it doesn't work, I'll strike it off my list. But with my determination, I come from a lineage of very strong women. The women in my family, my grandparents, my grandmother, my aunties, my sisters, my nieces, all of them are strong women, resilient and intelligent. I never give up. We never give up.
Yeah.
So
I'm sorry, I muted everybody, but somehow I see. Okay. I just did it again. And Auntie, I'm going to give you the right to unmute yourself.
Just done that now.
Okay, thank you.
So
sorry about that.
I said to myself, I'm going to start my restaurant business. I'm going to attempt it. If it works, fine. It doesn't work, and I see no reason why it's not going to work, because I'm going to work hard on this. 8 years, we're still on. Yet again, we've had pitfalls, but we rebound. We keep going. That the last and the final business, I hope, is the Unveil Holistic Center, which is where mental health experts, counselors, therapists, health coaches, life coaches, we're into wellness, and I'm a stress management consultant as well as a counselor and a coach. So I had to do that because I realized when I was young, between 21 and 23, I went in a dark pit. And there wasn't enough or the right support for me at that time. All it was, I had existential issues, questions I wanted answered, perspectives. And when you come from a family as large as mine, you were seen as, what's wrong with you? You're not the only child here. They didn't understand. So I slipped. But thankfully, I'm here. And for everything I went through is what brought me to where I am today. So Unveil Holistic Center was born to help, especially the support group, to help young people, give them what I didn't have at the time I needed the support. So that's what we give them. And apart from working with corporate individuals, corporate companies and individuals on work-life balance, stress, executive stress management, mental health, we do all that. So this is who I am in a nutshell.
That's just wonderful. And what resonated was finding strength in your weaknesses. That was really, really powerful hearing you say that, and to not be afraid of starting small. I think a lot of people, when they're starting up, you know, they go online to Instagram and on social media, and they see like people's businesses booming, and they assume that they need to spend millions and millions of dollars or naira to get something started. And I love how you said you started small, you know, selling out of your house, making house calls and all of that. And just understanding that there'll always be challenges. We might see something that's big and huge and beautiful today, but we don't know what that person went through. And, you know, I remember the first time I went to Designers Club, in the building in Lagos, and just looking around, and I was in such awe, you know, and saying, wow, it's a woman that owns this. It's a woman that started this. And seeing people come in and shop and be happy and smiling, you know, because for some people, shopping is therapy, retail therapy, you know. I have family members who enjoy shopping, and that's what makes them happy. And so you've been able to touch people's lives through your different businesses, and it's pretty amazing. And you talked about depression and so on. You know, last year, with the pandemic coming out of nowhere, it just hit everyone so hard. You know, it's like a truck hit people, you know, even myself, just everything changed. You couldn't really socialize. Like Bible studies I used to go to, everything turned and changed to online. People were just like, what's going on? Lots of people who started businesses got depressed, and both older and younger people talked about how they developed insomnia during that period because they weren't going to the gym as much as they used to go. They were working from home. They, you know, just the exercise was kind of out of their lives. Now we want 2021 to be different. It has to be different. How can we ensure that we continue to have some kind of a social life in this crazy era without contracting the virus?
See, the most important thing in life is the choices you make. Everything is within your power. 2020 came from the left side. Nobody saw it coming. And one good thing, there's a silver lining to every cloud. In Nigeria, a lot of people would look down and stigmatize mental health.
Yes.
But with 2020 and the pandemic, people, the high, the low, and the mighty realize that mental health is real. There isn't, we're trying to stigmatize mental health now because each one and every one of us, we're suffering from some kind of mental health due to what's going on. We've all lost people. We've had people in hospitals. Some of us have had the virus and recovered from it. Some of us haven't, and we're scared. But in saying this, we're thankful for science. We're thankful. There are guidelines, but are we willing to follow the guidelines, which is social distancing? I know how difficult that is. Human beings are not meant to isolate. We're relational. So you just have to be creative. Look at what we're doing right now. Yes. Maybe a couple of years ago, I would have had to fly down to where you are to have this interview. Yeah. But we can do this in everything. We can organize parties. If you're a party animal, you can organize parties with your friends. You can organize date nights with your friends. You can do virtually everything. We thank God for science. We thank God for technology.
Yes, yes. So through technology,
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead. I was going to say, so through technology, we can continue to connect with each other. And even for those who are in the same city, being careful to wear masks when you socialize. If you're going to the mall or whatever, that's still very important because we can't forget. I've heard people say, well, I don't have any symptoms, so I'm sure I don't have the disease. And that's not true because you might not have any symptoms, but you might be carrying it and you can easily, give it to someone else. Exactly. Absolutely. Exactly. And we must be mindful. So let's see. The next question I put down is, okay, last year, my first 2 webinars were on mental health. And during that time, we learned that the demographic with the most mental health issues in the world are actually married women. How can women, especially married women, create better balance for themselves while juggling relationships, children, home chores, and work needs? How do we do that successfully?
It's important to know that you are important. That's the first thing. You matter. And in everything, you need to have your A game on. You can't feed from an empty cup. Yeah. When you're in an airplane, they tell you, strap your oxygen mask before you help your infants. If you don't do that, you're not going to have enough oxygen for yourself or for your child. So it's important to nurture yourself, to prioritize your life, to stay organized, so you can have time to do the things you want to do and be able to look after your partner, your children. You don't want a nagging mother who's frustrated because she hadn't had time to retreat and nurture herself so she can come out. Most women will tell you, if I have to take time out, I'm being selfish. No, you're not. You have to retreat to advance. You take your A game instead of your D game to your family and to your partner. Yeah.
How do we, so I know some people, for instance, get into yoga or get into Zumba. What are some examples of things that we can do to balance out our lives? What are things that you feel like are really, really core for the existence of women, successful women?
Personally, spirituality is number one. It's grounding.
Okay.
Whatever it is or whoever you connect to, it is important to have that foundation and to know that that is your anchor. Then exercise for me is key. Walking is effortless. Anybody can walk. Yeah. But in saying this, I advise women to pick on things they enjoy doing. If you love to dance, we've got YouTube links. And you can put on your YouTube and dance for half an hour, dance for an hour.
Yeah.
You know, you can practice yoga. You can, anything that centers you and makes you happy. You can also learn a hobby, baking, knitting. These are all, painting. And if you just have to be creative, you have to find out what works for you. It's about you. People can make excuses all they want. You need to just have a tribe of people that can support you as well. It's important. I don't believe in working alone. I have
That's
accountability
beautiful.
partners. Yes.
Yes, yes, that's great. Accountability partners. And I love how you said try something new, because some people don't know. They've been living their lives just just go, go, go. I mean, male and female nurses, here in the US at least, a lot of overtime. So they work the 40 hours and then they want to make a time and a half on what their income. And so they work extra and they don't have enough time for themselves. And sometimes when you ask them, so what do you enjoy doing? They don't even know. And so I love how you said that, just try something, because you don't even know what you'll find out. Like my sister found out recently that she loves throwing parties. She did for more than 30 years of her life. She had no clue, and then recently she started planning parties for her children. And she said, oh my gosh, I find that I actually enjoy this and that it comes naturally. And it's something she learned just in her 30s. And so we're constantly evolving. And I think it's, like you said, it's important to take time out to know what we love doing and to find time each week to do those things.
And they have to be sustainable. If you don't love them, you're not going to sustain it. Yes.
That's a good point. That's a good point. And I love how you said walking, because some people absolutely hate going to the gym. Personally, I don't like going to the gym either, except for, if I'm like, I have 20 pounds I have to burn, I'm going to the gym. But I prefer to take walks outside. I prefer to be outdoors. And so people who say, I want to work out, but I really don't want to go to the gym. Like Anthony, you just said, you could do a Zumba YouTube video. You can take walks. Just start small and simple. You can start with 15 minutes, 20 minutes a day. And over time, you just add to it and grow it in that way. Okay. So for me, I termed this year for me a year of zero tolerance of disrespect. I find maybe it's because, I was born in I would say Scorpio month. I can be very, overly understanding of other people. And so, for instance, when I was younger, I had this friend who, if a guy even says to her, oh, your hair doesn't look nice, she cuts the person off completely. And I used to say, girl, you have zero tolerance. Like, you have to allow people, not everyone's coming from a healthy place or a healthy family. And I found that, I would make excuses for people who are treating me or other people badly and say, oh, well, maybe it's they had a bad day or this. And then I realized that the more that I allowed people to, step over my boundaries and not respect my boundaries, it gave them power to continue to do that. And I had to step back and say, hey, I'm hurting myself. This person is not affected. I'm hurting myself. I need to learn to have low tolerance for disrespect. So, Auntie, what example can you give us? What does zero tolerance look like to you? Or should we not have zero tolerance? Should we have a little bit of tolerance? How do we have healthy relationships with males and females, whether intimate relationships or just friendships? How do you know when somebody is a disrespectful person and when to say, don't be in my life, versus, okay, I'll give you a little bit of a chance?
The thing is, like you said here, it's clearly a case of boundaries.
Yeah.
And boundaries are there to protect you.
Yeah.
What are boundaries? Boundaries are you setting a limit physically, emotionally, and mentally with people to determine what you can take and what you will not take. It's about self-respect. It's about you.
Wow.
It's about you. And if you don't have that, some of us, especially ethnic women, because of our upbringing, we don't have boundaries. Most of us grew up in large families, everybody crosses everybody. And also you're not allowed to speak up.
Yes.
Yes. So sometimes you say yes when you mean to say no. And people take advantage of you, especially for if you don't have healthy self-esteem, people will take, well, they'll cross you every time, men, women. But what do? You have to do the work. I encourage women to do work on themselves. You have to find you. A lot of us have had maybe issues with upbringing, issues with words that were spoken into our lives as children, caregivers, teachers, and we grow up scarred with all these things. And we seek validation in other people. So you let your guards down all the time. And people take advantage of that. You know, when people have a healthy boundaries, they, especially women, there's nothing as sexy and as hot as a woman with a healthy boundary. A woman that knows, don't invade my space. This is my space. You get as far as your freedom stops where my nose starts.
Mm.
And it doesn't have to be said disrespectfully. You know, the woman that looks at you and tells you to go to hell and you think she's saying something nice to you. You see, that these are the women that have the boundaries are together, are correct, are in order. So you have to do the work in yourself, whatever it is that making you seek validation. For women, I tell them that no matter how accomplished a lot of women are, they're still seeking validation from men and from other people. And most people receive validation from no, that is a sign of weakness. They will never give it to you. It's control. It's control. They will never give it to you. So they want you to keep coming. They want you to keep coming. And they keep disrespecting you until the day the abuser says, the abused says, yeah, enough. The abuser never stops. So in all our relations, it could be with siblings. It could be with friends. It could be with the opposite sex. Use your voice. Speak up. Something is done to you that you're not in support of, you don't like, and leaves you feeling resentful. You speak up. You speak up. I don't believe in yelling. I speak up nicely. And people tend to have respect for you once you can use your voice. Yes.
Yes. And that's really, really powerful, is the using our voices, because sometimes you feel like, okay, if I say something, will I hurt the other person? But you said it's about you. It's about you. It's about you, self-respect first. So if you respect yourself and love yourself and have good self-esteem, you wouldn't feel bad telling someone else that they're crossing your boundaries. And even with speaking up, there are some people who, even when you speak up, they're not bothered. They will continue to do what they want to do. And at that point, you have to realize it's time to cut this person off. It's someone who doesn't know and understand your boundaries. You know, they have some serious issues and there's nothing you can do to change that. So you just have to, like you said, politely say, okay, maybe this relationship, maybe this friendship is, you know, it's not meant to be, you know, because you can't allow yourself to be put down by other people. Now, one of the things I love about Unveil Holistic Center is that it's known for its support groups. I've seen pictures up on, you know, different support groups that you have through through that business. What is the benefit of having a support group, especially as we start off this new year? Michelle Obama's book, one of the things that she had mentioned is that it was her girlfriends that really helped her through the whole presidency. Like, she didn't start off, she never really liked politics. And so it was her friends that helped her, like, through the process, as her husband was doing all the work, you know, as a president and all of that. What is the benefit of support groups?
The benefit of support groups, especially my support group, our support group, Unveil Holistic Center, you cannot underestimate. A problem shared is a problem halved. I talked about having depression at a very early age, 21, between 21 and 23. I didn't have the support I needed at that time. Yeah. You can imagine what it was like having mental health issues at that time. My parents didn't know what was wrong with me. I didn't know what was wrong with me. But what did they do with me? I was sent to a psychiatrist. I was on medication.
Yeah.
For about 2 years. They medicated me. I really can't tell you what value of life I had in those 2 years. Yeah. But I thank God I am here. And the essence of the support group is pro bono. For Unveil Holistic Center, the support group is our way of giving back. Because I want to give young people what I didn't have. I didn't
That's
have the
wonderful.
support. Not because my family didn't want to give it to me. They didn't know how to give it to me.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I went through that and I've come out on this side. The least I can do is have an opening or a space, a safe space, confidential, where young adults can come together. They have a commonality. They have shared experiences. It could be upbringing. It could be emotional problems. It could be just change of perspective, existential issues. But they come together and they all have that in common. They find it's easy for them to open up. They're not being judged because everyone is gone through something similar. Everyone has a particular pain, and we don't do anything. We don't tell them. We don't advise them on what to do amongst themselves. They just want to be heard. They just want you to be there. They want to be there for each other. And you find they walk through their problems themselves because every one of us has got what inside us. All we need more than anything else is support.
Yes.
When you believe in someone, you're telling them, I know you can do this. I believe in you. You can do this. And all people are looking for somebody to say to them, I believe in you. So most times, nobody is saying that, and they're pushing people to psychiatry. I don't believe in psychiatry because I experienced it.
Yeah.
I believe in therapy. I believe in counseling. I believe in support. Yes. And you know, it's so beautiful. Before, pre-COVID, we used to meet bi-monthly.
Okay.
Typically. And we used to all look forward to it. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Sharing. I had to share my stories. I'm always vulnerable. I speak my truth. And you have to gain their confidence too. So when I could tell my story, they were also free to tell their stories. And the most amazing thing was the group hugs. The tears, we all cried together. We all laughed together. We hug. We miss it. But with COVID, we meet virtually every Friday. I know they need the support. So we meet virtually every Friday.
Okay, that's great. Is there a minimum or maximum size that you would advise? Like if somebody, you know, if a group of friends wanted to meet to support each other or something like informally at home, is there like, you know, like 5 to 10 in one group? Or I say this because even like when we have business steering committees, they, you know, they try to say don't have more than about 5 people because you have so many ideas, so many things flowing in that could really change the balance. So what would you say is an ideal size of a good support group?
We try not to exceed 15, 20.
Okay.
At a time. But
Okay.
if we can keep it smaller, you're not going to turn anybody away if they come because they come in pain. And sometimes our members bring in people, so you have to accommodate.
I
And
see.
it's just beautiful to see. But we ensure that we're not too many if we can. If we can cope, we're not too many, maybe 15, 20 people at a time.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Thank you. Now, I work in the STEM field, science, technology, engineering, and math, and it's one of the most male-dominated fields. One of the things that I've done, you know, throughout my career is to go to high schools to speak to young people, and especially young girls, to encourage them to come into the STEM field. Then when we have women working in STEM, you know, they typically, I think they said around 5 years or so, they start to lose women. Like they switch from engineering to commercial roles or financial roles and so on, but we're not able to keep them. And recently, a vice president of a company said that we lose a lot of young STEM women when they get married. And so, you know, one of the things I started thinking about is, how do you know if the partner that you have or that you're about to have is going to support your career versus kill your career? I'm saying this because, you know, especially in like Nigeria, for instance, a lot of men will say, oh my gosh, I love strong women. Oh my goodness, I love, you know, successful women. But then when they get them, it seems like they get them and then they start to try to suppress them, yes, or put them down. What are certain things that you can smell in a partner to know that this person is all talk and is not really going to support your career?
I tell my clients, they must have conversations. conversations are important. These are conversations you have to have ab initio from the start. Both parties need to know what their moral code, ethical code, career code is. They're as real as anything. But in ethnic women, we don't do that. We're not big on that. It's changing. You have to start as you mean to go on. He needs to know this lady is all about her career, or it's all about her business. It's okay down the line, the children come and there's pressure and you need to reevaluate. It has to be your choice. But before you make that choice, there are options like getting a nanny to watch the kids while you go to work, or there are things we can do that will not necessitate you quitting your job to take care of family. But a man should not have that right over you. And we sure can smell them. When you have conversations, when you date, when you're caught, people really can't hide for too long.
Yeah.
There are signs that this person might not support me. And if that ever happens, don't make excuses. Don't make excuses.
That's a big one.
Yes. Women, God has given us gut feelings. We have the sixth sense. Your instincts always want you. There's something, and you're like, there's something about this guy. He's not going to support me. He's going to change. But women, we make excuses until it's too late.
Until it's too late. And so it's about knowing to listen to your guts. And I think as I've gotten older, that's and I've noticed it with my friends as well as my older sister, for instance, we begin to say a lot more, hey, I'm paying attention to my guts. My instincts. You might not have any data or exact proof or evidence, but something inside you. And even, I've had with both myself and people, they've shared, XYZ happened, this bad thing happened to me. And before it happened, something inside me told me, don't go here. Or something inside me told me, don't talk to this person. And you're like, oh, I just ignored it at the time. And so like, as I've gotten older, that's one of the things that I'm learning and that I've learned is trust your guts. If something inside you says leave or walk away, do it. If something says help this person, there are people that, you meet, like, depending on your profession, and I'm sure, Auntie, I know for you, you meet lots of people every day, but there are certain people that you meet that something inside you draws you to them, and you're just like, I feel like this person is going to be useful or beneficial in my life, and both ways. And so it's important that we learn, like you said, to trust our guts and question what it is that our insides are trying to tell us. Now, in the beginning, we talked about startup businesses. And I mentioned that some people started businesses or at the beginning of last year or 2 years ago, and COVID hit and everything just kind of went all over the place. Some people closed their businesses. Some people closed their nonprofit organizations, lost hope. What is your advice to those who want to try again, if they want to start back small, because they've already been hurt by maybe failure? How do you pick yourself back up and say, you know what, let me try again and see if I will succeed?
You know what they always say, don't let the fear of striking out keep you from playing the game. What is failure? You're only a failure when you stay down. When you fail, when you think you failed, a lot of us have failed in 2020, but you sit down and accept the failure, own where you are, and start all over again. You keep starting all over again until you hit. I never quit. I never quit because of the women before me and the ones coming behind me. I have to keep going. But 2020, you have to be kind to yourself. It wasn't anybody's fault that 2020 happened. And this is life. Life is unpredictable. So we're still reeling from the effects of 2021. But the thing is, while we're here on lockdown for some people, for most people, what are you doing with your time? Have you given up? You can't afford to give up. You plan. You know what they say? When opportunity meets preparedness,
yes,
what happens? So you can't give up. Why would you give up? You're not the only one. Even blue chip companies were affected. So everybody took a beating in 2020. So that should be enough comfort to know, hey, this wasn't me. My restaurant, for instance, after 8 years, I struggled. The last 2, 3 years, I was struggling. I held on because of sentiments.
Mm.
The rent was too high. I had to, the stress of running the business. I had about 30, 40 people. And in Nigeria, 30, 40 people, people say infrastructure is a problem in Nigeria. It's not, manpower is. So
Wow.
having to deal with all that. But thank God, when we went through COVID, the first lockdown, we were delivering, doing food deliveries instead of in dining.
Okay.
And one day I realized, oh my God, I have peace and I'm still running my business.
Yeah.
So what happened? I restructured the business. It's no longer in dining, it's all deliveries. And delivery right now, it is the present and it is the future.
Mm.
So while you're in lockdown, what are you doing? Put your plans, ideas are coming. Richard Branson said, business opportunities are like buses. Ideas are like buses. There's always one coming at the bus stop, another one coming. So the ideas are coming. Are you writing them down? Are you working on those ideas? Because this period is going to be over. Everything passes. So when it's over, are you prepared?
Mm.
You have to be prepared. So I'll encourage everyone, start all over again. Start again.
That's
I never give up.
beautiful.
If it doesn't work, I try something else. Yes.
Beautiful. I think something that you said that's a big deal is restructuring. Many companies, huge companies, have failed because they didn't realize when and how to restructure. I talk about BlackBerry. Back in the day, BlackBerry was everything, and BlackBerry seemed like it was the future. But then changes came in, and for instance, Apple came in and disrupted everything. And companies that were not able to hurry up and restructure and change during that period lost. Same thing with this pandemic. Companies that didn't know how to take things online, who were not successful enough with their employees working remotely, failed. It's important to know that when you've created a business plan and you're starting off and it seems like it's not working, you have to figure out, what do I need to change to make things work? They say if you continue doing something over and over and expecting it to change, then it's madness, right? You have to know how to restructure, rebrand, and all of that. And I love how you said to journal, and I think I need to do more of this where ideas are concerned. The first time I started journaling was a friend at church had mentioned the importance of writing down the prayers that you've prayed and writing down when it was answered, because it helps encourage you for future. Yes, exactly. Gratitude, and to encourage you when things are going really, really bad, to say, well, God did this for me, in the past, so it's possible that he will do something else for me in the future. And you also talked about workforce and people, and what are you doing during this time? I know that for me, there are certain areas that I need to improve on in terms of continue to grow in, that are changing. Like my area is I do data analysis, machine learning, and I've found I go online to YouTube or pay for courses and take courses to improve myself. One of the reasons I started the company I have in Nigeria, Professional Africa, which is the website is professionalafrica.com. One of the reasons I started this was because I was volunteering with a big organization to Power Africa. And as I did the work, I saw many gaps, skills gaps that our people had in, like some engineers who wanted to help with marketing the conference. They didn't really know how to do it. And I was like, okay, if this person were to take a short course on marketing, that would help them, or even stuff like customer service. We are not the strongest at customer service. The first time I went to Jamaica, at the resort, the those who were hosting us, the waiters and waitresses, were so kind. They were acting as if people would give them $1,000 tips. They acted in a very, very appropriate way, like that made us feel special, and I was like, I wish Nigeria had the kind of customer service that some of these other countries have. And so when I started professionalafrica.com, I reached out to top short course, online course companies in the US that were successful here and helped people get jobs. And I said, hey, I want our people to just be able to spend 3 hours, 4 hours to learn the key things about soft skills. And, and I'm saying this because it's important for us to continue to grow. Like Auntie just said, is if you feel like you have gaps in entrepreneurship, then maybe should you take a course in it? Should you find a mentor that's going to help you and guide you through that process? But training and growth during this pandemic is very big, because like Auntie said, it's going to be over. And then where would you find yourself? So that's a very, very big deal. So Auntie, how can people engage more with Unveil Holistic Center? That's one question. The second question is, what is the one thing that we must do this year to succeed, to have peace, to have joy, to, try and start running successful nonprofits or businesses, or supporting other people who are running businesses and nonprofits? What do you think?
The first question I'll take is how to access Unveil Holistic Center. We are very accessible. We're on all social media handles, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and recently we just joined Clubhouse. Incredible. Okay. You see, that's the thing about rebranding yourself. At 56, I kind of still hang with the young ones. I still, so you have to keep rebranding. You have to keep rebooting. You have to keep upgrading yourself. If not, you become obsolete. So that's number one. We are very accessible, and we have our support groups. We're on WhatsApp. Anybody can, and we make sure we engage our clients. And I am very passionate about my young people, my young adults. I am, more than anything else, the support group is my baby. So it gives me the greatest joy ever, than any other arm of my business. Yes. Thank you.
That's wonderful. So we can engage more with Unveil Holistic Center on Instagram. We can find you on Instagram. We can find you on Facebook. Okay, great. And you said that the support groups it's every Friday.
Every Friday.
I think. Okay. And now it's online?
It's online, yes. We have we post the links on social media by Wednesday we put up the links. So everybody's free to join in. We all need support. We all do. And it's free. So yes.
Thank you. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Especially like this.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to answer the other question. What do we need to do here?
Yes, please.
Have peace and joy.
Yes.
Thing is, what is success for you? And you have to define success in your own terms before you ask or seek how to go after the success. Peace and joy. A lot of people cede that right to other people. Nobody can give you peace. Nobody can give you joy. It has to come from within. It's innate. You have to find it, whatever makes you happy. That is number one. For me, personally, my number one is my spirituality. That is where I find my grounding. That is where I find my peace and my joy. No matter how sad I am, I play some worship songs and I'm uplifted. No matter how sad I am, I go into my prayer altar, I lay it at his feet, and I bounce right back. But joy, I do things that give me joy. Spending time with my children, my nieces, nephews. I love babies. Spending time with babies, that's so pure. Or young children, I love that. It makes me, I derive a lot of joy doing that. Same as spending time with older people. I derive joy doing that too. So at the end of the day, it's all about you. But the biggest mistake is letting other people define that for you. Yes. Nobody should define that for you.
Yes. And I love that. That's really amazing. Because you have to learn yourself and to know yourself, and also to know who and what to cut out of your life. I don't want to quote, the Bible, but I'm kind of pushed to here. There's a part that talks about if you need to cut off a part of your body to make sure that you are in the right place, then you need to. And so I think that it's important for us to keep to continue to assess ourselves and our friendships and our relationships and say, okay, I've showed or given my boundaries to this person. I've spoken up, you know, I've done all the things I'm supposed to do, and this area of my life is still causing me too much stress. It might be that you're starting doing 3 businesses at once and they're all stressing you out. Which does it mean that you need to cut that out for now until you get to a better place? Maybe. Whatever it is that you need to cut out of your life so that you have enough peace to actually hear, you know, the whispers, the really quiet things. That's what you need to do to succeed. And Auntie, I want to touch on startups and businesses one more time, because again, back to the workforce. When do you know when to hire people? For me, when I started volunteering for IEEE, for Power Africa Conference, the first year of it, you know, I assigned roles to different people that I found, like I said, I found that there were so many skills gaps. And I ended up having to put on several hats. So for those who weren't able to do marketing well, I had to put on the marketing hat and learn how to do that and jump in. And then even with event planning, you know, those on ground who were not doing it correctly, and I wasn't able to find someone with boots on the ground on the continent, you know, and then I had to put on that extra, do that one as well. And you know, when you're starting up a business, you're kind of doing everything because maybe you can't afford to hire people. But at some point you have to hire people because of stress and to making sure that you have someone who can do whatever more than you. When do you know when is a good time to hire people? When do you know that it's time to hire someone, you know, to do your marketing, to do your sales or whatever?
When I find there's a void in that area, and if it's marketing, if my sales are going down and orders are not coming in, I know, okay, that's something. You go back to the drawing board, you ask yourself, what are we not doing right? And maybe you need to embark on marketing, or maybe physical marketing or social media marketing, or any kind of marketing to boost your sales. That it is crystal clear at that time. Or you have, like when I had the restaurant business, a lot of customers would call in to complain. Oh, I was in there, your staff did that, oh, I saw the name tag. You know, okay, it's time to replace someone and bring in people. Or it's time to engage in training again. You have to, especially here in Nigeria and with a small business, you have to be hands-on. That's the only way you would have your eyes. Nobody's telling you. You have to be there to know, okay, this is actually what is happening, or have a way to get feedback from people. As to, I used to have mystery shoppers come in and give me feedback on what they observed. And
Oh, wonderful.
oh, yes. So you, at that time, you know, okay, it's time to let somebody go. And for us here, when they want to, I don't think twice about letting people go. I give chances and all that. I have contracts, but when it impacts your bottom line, you just have to let go, and it starts affecting you mentally, the stress levels. You just have to self-preserve. Yeah, it's time to hire.
Great.
When it's hiring here, it's difficult, but I would hire someone who's teachable, who's willing to learn.
Yeah.
And I can train, I can build the person up, than people who come with all certifications and they can't do the job. They have no willingness to work.
Yes, that's a good one. That's a really good one. So for us, everyone who's working and starting a business or looking to hire, we all have to learn to be teachable. If we're teachable, then we're also going to be able to teach others along the way. One of the themes that I feel like has resonated throughout this entire webinar is journaling and writing and going back to your story or your plan. And so it made me think about vision board. So for the year 2021, perhaps what we all need to have or to create is some kind of vision board. What do we expect for this year? And then from that, draw on how do we want to get to that place of success. So you've given us several tips on how to succeed this year with support groups, with making sure that we have self-esteem and self-respect, with making sure that we speak up, making sure that we don't give up on our dreams and our goals and our business plans because of the pandemic, and you know, making sure that we socialize, exercise. We've talked on a lot of very, very big and important topics today. And I'm very, very grateful because I know that this is has already impacted me, is impacting others watching, and is going to impact those who are going to watch this later. Because some people weren't able to tune in because of the timing and other priorities. But I've had lots of people reach out and say they can't wait to hear from you. So I want to thank you so much, Auntie Ndidi, for coming on our webinar today. Thank you so much for all the tips that you've shared and for being open and vulnerable with us. Thank you for Unveil Holistic Center and what you continue to do. So I'm hoping that we'll join you on some Fridays online and be able to get our wellness in check. So thank you so much. Is there anything else you would like to share?
Thank you, Rona, for having me. This has been amazing. I've been so excited. And it's also, I forgot to touch on having your goals. As you're journaling, you have your goals. Your goals are your plans.
Okay.
If you don't have goals, say if you do not plan, you plan to fail. It's important to have your goals. And I personally use the SMART goals. Your goals must be specific, they must be measurable, they must be attainable, they must be realistic, and they must be time bound. So it cuts across anything you want to do in life. You want to lose 10 pounds, use a SMART goal. You want to have a startup, use the SMART goals. You must have a goal, and you must be able to go through your goal, short-term goal, long-term goal. Every morning, I have to look at the goals I set for myself. And it keeps you, it re-energizes you. It lets you know you have a destination.
That's good. That's good. Great. So goals, 2021 goals. That's what we need. And then keep striving for it. Have the right people around you who support you to meet your goals. Share your goals with them. Because Auntie, you talked about accountability, you talk about partners. So I share my goals with my friends. They share their goals with me and the rest of our friends, and we push to get there. So thank you so much, Auntie Ndidi. Thank you so much. You're an inspiration to all of us. Thank you.
We are proud of you. We are proud of you.
Thank you, Auntie. Thank you. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. This video is going to be posted on a professionalafrica.com/videos, or just go to the homepage and then click on media, and then you'll see the videos. This video is going to be posted in the next couple of days. Also, if you're looking to improve your performance in customer service, financial markets, and so on, and if you have relationships in companies that are looking to improve these things for their personnel, please refer them to professionalafrica.com. All of our courses are very high quality. It's the exact same courses that are taught in some Ivy League schools here in the US. They're all certificate programs. If you complete the program and you take the exam or the quiz at the end and pass, you will receive a certificate of completion. So if you have any issues or questions, please feel free to contact me. And I know that you've all been blessed by Ms. Ndidi Anye here today, and we look forward to joining you joining us in the next 2 weeks for the next webinar. Thank you so much again. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you.